I'm the kind of guy who will take something apart just.
Alrighty, what am I doing today? So, I would like for pods when they spawn to be a little better. So they'll fit within a certain radius and, yeah, not spawn into the wall and stuff like that. Because at the moment I just put them down and they land in a particular place, but it's not entirely great. And to do this, I'm going to have to properly make use of world data. This stuff isn't helping me right now. This world data set tile blocked by unit flag. And it's mainly because I need to sort of get those tiles rather than just rely on sort of this stuff. So, let me look over here. That's better. Got all sorts of things that I can get out of world data. So this is the kind of stuff that I'll need, and I'm probably going to go for can units enter tile as my test to figure out the right tile, and we will get a cone of tiles or a cylinder of tiles to get what we need. Where is that? There's the one. So we'll collect tiles in a cylinder or a box, and that'll give us everything we need, and then we'll go from there. So we'll just run a sweep on those tiles after we've got them to find tiles that we can use, and that's it. So let's get started. So tile pos pair, an array of tile pos pair is what we're going to need. Where is it? Okay. Sorry, just let me move the mic around. Okie dokie. Local array tile pos pair. Possible targets. What else? We'll just go candidates. Pos candidates and pos candidate. That'll just be a tile pos pair. A tile pos pair has a vector, which is what we'll use to actually do the spawn. That'll take the place of drop location, and it also has a T tile on it, and that tile is what we will use to. Yeah, that tile is what we will use to actually like do a test to see if we can enter in there or not. Okie dokie. So let's get pos candidates equals world data dot collect tiles in a cylinder. Made a mistake there. So the collection is, oh wait, we don't even need to do that. It uses this concept called out variables, and what that means is instead of it giving you a return value, you give it something to populate, in this case pos candidates, and it'll populate it, it'll mutate it into what we need it to be. Alright, vector position. So that position will be location, and we will go for a radius of 96 is the tile size, so let's just go for 96 times 8 for now, and we'll do 96 times 2 for the height. I might drop that down to 1. I want like these to be a flat sort of tile collection. Okie dokie. So next up, we need to determine the drop location. The drop location will be determined by finding a place which is free for the units to drop into. So, guess what are we looking for? Pos candidate. All candidate valid. All right. So first things first, we set candidate valid to false. Wow. We need a candidate cursor. While not candidate valid, I'm going to iterate over this length, and we're also going to not freak out if we end up out of scope. So if candidate cursor needs to be less than pos candidates dot length. Take one. Yeah, that's the one. All right. Let's set the candidate cursor to 0. Okie dokie. So, candidate pos equals, sorry, pos candidate rather. Pos candidate candidate cursor. All right, so now we get a tile out of this. I haven't done too much with this, so let me just find the right data structure. That's the one. So we've got t-tile, which is tile, and vector, which is world pos. So going back to what we're doing. Wait. All right, going back to what we're doing. Candidate valid basically equals pos world data dot unit can enter, I think it is. Which one is it? Can units enter tile? That's the one. So world data dot can units enter tile. Yeah, can units enter tile, and we want to give it pos candidate dot tile. That's pretty much it. If the candidate's valid, that'll return true, and then we're good to carry on. So we ignore this stuff, ignore offset. That's an old concept used to sort of flub things. So we're going to throw them away. And we're going to try and do the spawn at pos candidate dot vector. Let me just double check that I got that right. Tile pos pair. It's world pos. There we go. So it's a vector called world pos. So now this drop location will instead be pos candidate.worldpos. Everything else stays the same. World data set tile blocked by a unit flag for that item. Yeah, we'll see if that works. Next up, my presence in tactical rule set. Alright, I want a blank squad. Alright, so I'm just going to try and make an extra squad. This shouldn't be necessary to be here either anymore. This can actually go in here. I was playing with that to try and find a way to make it work, and I realized that you need to run this method here, this XJIA player update data to AI game state. If you don't do that before you try and do this manual sort of creation stuff, nothing works. So that's the thing I found out, had to fix, but should no longer be an issue. Goodbye. Hello. Okie dokie, so I've got the AI data that's pulling from the game state, which is cold game state, so that's all good. Alright, so hopefully all that is sweet. Alright, next up, I want to make an extra squad and just give it some deployment some distance away. Just to verify whether things work as I expect it to. So we'll just sort of squad equals blank squad. Okie dokie. So this drop location, drop location dot x equals drop location dot x, and we'll plus we'll move it, let's say 12 tiles across x. I really don't know where that'll end up, but should be close enough. Just go with that. Alright, so we got 4 troopers, Advent M1. Let's try and mix the squad just to see that in action. Sorry, just finding out the right character template for, say, a captain. Advent Captain M1. What kind of modder am I? I forgot that. Alright. And let's grab some lancers for the other group. What am I doing? Stun Lancer M1. Something like that. Alright, Stun Lancer M1. Alright, let's try and blow up the computer, see what happens. It should work just fine. What am I doing? Alright, build computer. First build's always a bit slower, mainly because mainly because it has to build out everything for the first time. Second time, third time, it is a bit cleaner. Man, I don't even know who I'm talking to yet. There's only 3. Right, let's carry on. I did it wrong. What did I do wrong? Offset. Oh, yeah. Still using offset somewhere, which is wrong and bad. That should go away. Alright, let's build that again. More. Right. Really should get a linter. Alright, we're in business. Alrighty. Strategy start. Excitement continues to build. Alrighty. I haven't seen it before. This is our world map at the moment. Oi, go away. Alright. They're really slow at the moment. I wonder why. Doesn't matter. Alright, let's jump over to our avatar facility. Oh, we're already there. Right. Okay. Go away. So if you're wondering what's going on, this is a mission that's been generated sort of like it's built. It's not a mission, it's a strategy site, which automatically makes this mission when I go to visit it. And this mission, like the end result of it is you end up with destroying the base, and it'll disappear from the strategy map. So that's the whole sort of like missions have consequences beyond the sort of the realm of operations. The first thing we're going to do now, everything's just loaded there. I'm just going to, before I go any further, I'm just going to check the logs to see where stuff built. So a bunch of units got dropped in. I'm wondering whether it actually dumped out a lot of the old ones. Let's see what actually spawned. No one's here. What happened? Let's go find them. Wait. Oh, hello. So 1, 2, 3 stun lances. That's an odd number. Where's everyone else? That is indeed odd what happened there. I might have to drop in more logging statements. A very successful mission. Anyway. Alright, so the stun lancers showed up. No one else did. Maybe a captain. Oh, I see. I didn't add that one in. And here I didn't add that one in. That's very silly of me. Okay. We'll do this squad. Blah, 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 and now it's gone. And we can go destroy the other one, and some of the avatar doom has gone away as well, which is good. But anyway, let's fix this up. Log. Drop location, and then a new drop location just further down. Yeah, alright, let's just see what happens with that. Check, verify what actually gets built, and then we'll go from there. Alrighty, build again. it's going to be tricky, I guess, once it's time to start figuring out how to lay all these pods out and stuff like that. I mean, I could just sort of cheat and just say, all right, I'm going to just sprinkle them around the objective and just see what happens. Realistically, once I start doing the tactical side of things, I want for there to be more of a like activate all pods approach to this sort of stuff. At which point, like if it's got activate all pods, then it doesn't really matter too much where they are, as long as like they're sort of sensibly arranged and they do some sort of early warning, like they have some sort of ringing patrol around the objective. But yeah, that's a bit putting the horse before the cart at the moment. Alrighty, let's jump over here. Let's load her up. Alright, looked like there was a bunch of stuff in the log just then. Let me just take a moment to look at the log first. There we go, so first group of troopers, free stun lancers. And then 4 free troopers, 2 captains. Alright, let's teleport in, see what we see. Alright, so this sort of intimates that maybe the radius that I'm making, like it doesn't, I mean, I sort of assumed it didn't, but it doesn't actually emanate from the center, it emanates from well away. Yeah, there we go. So if we just go have a look at these bad boys. Oh, hello. That's a nice big pod right there. It means business. Alright, let's go find the other one. Hello. Nice. Okay. Well, at the very least, like the radius is too big. That much is clear. The reason why these guys showed up here and these guys showed up here is because I had the center, the objective location was here. I gave it a radius of 8, the cylinder, which expanded out to here. So it started doing all its placement just here. And then the other one, the center was down here, and the radius expanded all the way over to here, and then did its thing. So obviously a radius of 8 is way too big. Let's close that out. And what we'll do is we'll temper it down to... well, that's interesting as well. The captains are supposed to be here. Yeah. I don't know. Let's just reduce that radius to start off with, and make some decisions after we've sort of done that. So reduce it to 3, and then we'll do another build. Take a look at it. Just gonna go grab a drink of water. I'll be right back. Alrighty, where were we? Let's run you. Most unfortunate. But I have to make sure that the random numbers don't swing that way when we do it for real. Alrighty, let's take a look-see. Alright, well that's certainly a lot closer. I can roll with that. That's where pod 1 is. It's going to break concealment, then we're going to get seen by the other pod. This pod is all going to act as one, which is great. That's what I wanted. And then this pod's going to act all as one as well. Team. Alright, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, so we've got 4 troopers and 2 captains, which is correct. And then we got 1, 2, that's Lancer. 1, 2, 3, 4 troopers plus 3 lancers, which I believe is also correct. Yep. So our numbers are good, our position is better. We can probably do something else. Cool. Alright. Yes. Let's move on to actually making this part of the system. And say goodbye to that. What we can also say goodbye to is overriding tactical rule set, because what we're going to do instead is we're going to give them all empty mission schedules, which means no enemies at all. So we shouldn't even need to override the tactical game rule set. What we can instead do is, let me just open up another window, Let me check out reinforcement missions, which is another one of my mods. Right. So mission X2 download all reinforcement missions. All right. So we got this mission mission listener, XCOM mission logic listener, and what this does. This mission, this loads on tactical begin play. Now I believe that happens at a time where it's fine for us to sort of interject and do our thing. So let me just verify that. So I want to be in the tactical game rule set. On tactical begin play. Alright, so that happens after everything else has been started, I believe. Submit game state. Yep, and before the game state is submitted, which is good, because it means it's a start state. We can treat it as a start state. There she is. Alright, begin tactical play. It's got all the state manager stuff. Begin state. There's probably got another begin tactical play. Let me find it. Post create tactical game. Right, so the AI has been initiated, so it should work if we make our own listener to do that sort of thing. So that's what we're going to do. So it's going to sort of hold this sort of structure, and we'll do our own thing with it. So let me pull that over somewhere else. So I want to call this global resistance classes tactical start manager. I'll just call it tactical start, that'll do. Alright. Global resistance, tactical start, maximum effort. Alright. XCOM game state base object. This one can just yeah, it might need to be a base object. Alright, we don't need you. We don't need you. We will keep you. Global resistance tactical start is the name of you. That will keep. Deploy defenders is what my mission sort of thing is going to be, and you'll understand the logic behind that soon enough. I'm going to skip over all of that sort of stuff. I don't want you, don't want you, don't want you, don't want... mission type. Okay. Keep mission type, get rid of everything else. I'm going to get rid of that anyway soon. Right. That's the basics. Now what I'm going to do is jump over back to this code, and I'm going to add this on pre-mission. Going to add this event. This is probably going to do this trick. What do I need to do here? X2 downloadable content. Alright. Alright, so got this mission logic listener stuff. That's old hat. I'm not really using it yet. I will use it eventually. Let's do you. Alright, so now I want tactical listener, tactical start rather. Alright, I want global resistance. Tactical start there. That's it, added to the state. And that's good to go, I think. So the difference here is I should be able to do everything without this rule set override now. So essentially all the setup work is automatically done for me, all this stuff. So I just need to build out the squads and send them down the line. So we should probably bring that code over. So that's how we get battle data. We don't need 4th level or mission type. We really don't need all of that stuff. We just need the battle data to get the objective location. Pretty much everything else came from here. Whoop. Already got you. Already got... No, not got you. Doesn't matter. Alright, and now... pull this stuff out. So really I just want to test that this will work. Once I've got this abstraction working, then I can sort of rest easy in the knowledge that I can carry on forward without actually using an override, which is good. Less overrides, always better. Engine.ini. The overrides are real. Very real. Alright. So yeah, kill the tactical... I'll comment it for now. So get rid of the tactical game rules set. Alright, we'll see what happens with that, and then I will reevaluate, see what goes from there. So, while I don't use ModBuddy for my actual modding, I do need to add it to the profile so that it builds properly. So, it is global resistance tactical start. Cool. Alright, start the debug. I might have messed something up. That's okay, I can just let the compiler catch it. And the compiler caught it. I did something wrong. No. Okay, global resistance UC. $35? 45. Oh, hello. Oh, of course. Start state. Bad or missing expression for token start state. Let's call that start state instead, because it's always going to be in the case of a start state. Alright, that worked. Good. Onward. Come on.
Continues to build as city sectors.
While we prepare for new operations and continue our research, we can pass time by scanning at sites like this one. On your order, we'll start our scans on the surrounding area.
Setting course for Sector 16, Indonesia.
Where's the audio there?
Come in.
Come on up, XCOM. I told you to shut up. There we go. She didn't run. I don't think she did anyway. Load of mission logic. Spawning, Advent, Captain Abden, Captain Advent, Trooper. Oh, okay, maybe. Oh no, what have I done? What happened here? See, this is the problem, is like you try and make your code better and you get punished for it sometimes. Wonder if they show up if you shoot them. Nope. What about a grenade? Does a grenade do it? No. So only the leader got to be sort of the right fit, right stuff. That's odd. Concerning. So it partially worked. It partially did stuff. Let's give this a little more visual prominence. Now, I don't believe this is code did anything, but I just want to make sure of that. So I'll just do that. What I might also do is in the squad spawn manager, I'll just do a log battle AI data ID. Which will be that. All right. Now let's make that negative. So yeah, we'll make that negative instead of just commenting it out, just to make double plus sure. And we'll run another build. Tail ray. For how long it's taken me to learn how to do this stuff. To be honest, I had a background, I have a background in web development, about 5 years worth. And while there's lots of places you can learn to do programming, and the kind of work that I do, front end development, involves a lot of teasing apart really bad code bases and forcing them to do what you want them to do. It's just sort of the nature of front end development. And it just seems like that was a reasonable fit for learning how to do this sort of stuff. You can self-taught with programming, but I think learning to mod by modding is probably the absolute worst way to learn how to program, as far as I've seen thus far. Mainly because modding is all about poking and prodding and trying to find where you can actually make changes. At least, actually, there's probably better games that you could mod, which would be a lot easier to mod. But I certainly wouldn't start with learning how to mod XCOM unless you start with really low expectations and then just sort of work your way through some basic concepts and see what you can do. Because the unfortunate thing is, it's really there's this really I say, hey, I know something's wrong, I've got to do something different, and I can have a reasonable guess that I'm not going to be wasting my time as I make my changes. The unfortunate reality is sometimes you are wasting your time when you make those changes. And if you... give me my cursor back. What are you doing to me? Why won't it give me my cursor back? Anyway, you can be relatively certain that you... There we go. You can be relatively certain that you're not entirely wasting your time if you've got a little bit of experience in pulling apart systems. If you don't, you can really feel like you're just shooting in the dark. You got no idea what can cause the problems. So that's probably not the worst, not the best answer. About 5 years development, there are other people who are far more experienced with modding than I am and stuff like that. They're doing different things. Everyone's got their own level of experience. But the main thing is to have plenty of time for the patience of getting to understand this system as well. Because the simple fact is like this code base is pretty rough in a lot of places. And because it takes so long to make a change and then observe that change, like sometimes it can take close to 5 minutes to actually see what you've done and whether it's had any effect. It requires you to do a lot more thinking about what you're doing and like running through a number of different types of process to just sort of handle that. Anyway, so I spawned a bunch of units. Where'd they go? Battle data ID, but the unit for some reason goes nowhere. I mean, Tauri, if you want to learn how to program, you gotta, like, to a degree you'll get it from schooling, but you've also got to get it from your own sort of volition. And one of the best ways to do it is to figure out a project, like some sort of project that you want to do, and then you've got to be willing to stick with it, you know, not bug out because it's getting a bit hard or anything like that, because it will get hard. You'll get frustrated and it'll take way longer than you expect it to, and all this sort of malarkey. And if you don't put yourself in a position where you can do all that sort of stuff, you'll never get there. So you have to figure out a project that you want to do and just stick with it through hell or high water. That's the best advice I can give with absolutely no context. Right, okay. So this is interesting. So when I'm spawning these units within an event listener like this, it's just deciding to sort of say, no, not having any of it. Where is my logging information? It's fallen off the top. That's right, I'll have to get it from text. Just give me one moment. Okay, logging. But I think like doing debugging like this and all that sort of thing, like you really just got to know what you're looking for. If you don't know what you're looking for, you're going to be stuck. So to a degree, you've just got to be willing to spend the time. But yeah, modding XCOM can be exceedingly frustrated, but I'm quite invested in the end result, so I stick with it. Here we go. Alright. So this time, the unit is the one that's not registered on the game state. And that's possibly because I'm using start state as the concept. So, because yeah, it's AI group is the thing that's missing. And even units missing because it's saying access none here when it's registering for events. So let's unpack that a bit. So it's an issue with the spawn squad manager. So this is the stuff it does. It feeds it a state. And I don't know whether it can be considered a start state at this point. It must, like, the state must be sealed at this point. So let's turn it around and go, hey, it's not a start state. So this is important information for the actual sort of spawning logic. Let me try and dig it up. Yeah, you're telling me, RoboJumper. States be all over the place. All right, create. Oh wait, spawn manager. So if I get a game state, it should add things to it properly. Yeah, so I want to avoid that. Use this. It's funny because this should have happened. Like this should have. It's locked down, but it looks like maybe it's not locked down. It doesn't even matter. New game state, because that's still getting the start state. I don't need to do that. I can just give it the state and go from there. Needs to submit game state. It doesn't do that. It creates unit internal. Post create init. All right, let's just see if we don't mark it as start state as a start state addition, maybe it doesn't freak out quite so much. Let's jump over here, make this game state. The name doesn't actually make a difference, but I do like to sort of keep my naming relatively current to avoid confusing myself down the track. Because I couldn't even get the unit ref. This is the problem, is the unit ref was odd, so it created this group, but then all these other group transfers completely messed everything up. So, alright, let's try this again. Oh, that would make sense as well, because by setting start state to true, it actually physically reaches for that start state, which means it's not actually using this start state that I've got right here. So by falsing that out... Oh, have I already falsed it out? Looks like I did. Oh dear. That's a problem. That means I don't know what the error is. Let me double check that. That's not the one I want either. Fourth Boolean. 1, 2, 3, 4. Ah, geez, really? B add to start state. Let's test that. This is an interesting one, because if this does indeed mean that I can't spawn like this after initial spawn, then I can't do reinforcements this way. So this is a problem I do need to fix. That's some ugliness. Alright, Alright, so I just need a bit more debugging information. So built unit unit ref, object ID. That's good. I want to see if I can get the game state for this as well. So that's something like maybe I can get some information from that too. I sort of so I've done lots of I've done lots of work without sort of adequate debugging tools that allow you to step through and stuff like that. Again, it's a web dev thing. Just sometimes the tools are pretty crap. So while you can do a stepping debugger for this, I'm sort of used to working in a way sometimes where I just I treat a build as an information gathering build. The builds are fast enough that you can do that. Like, you just put down enough console logging statements that you can then reason about the problem, whatever it is. It's still weird with modding because there's always like a layer that you're just not privy to. You'll never get any access to it, and that's just the way it is. So to a degree, you're always trying to you're always trying to put your feelers out to just figure out more of what you understand to be the system. And if the system doesn't behave the way you think it should, rather than going, well, that's stupid, that can't possibly be, you try and understand more about why it's doing that. There's just no other way, unfortunately, to interact with the system because it's complex. Alrighty, let's see if we changed anything. If we didn't, I'm going to have to spend some time just reading the code and figure out how I can make this work. As I said, this is a pretty important concept because I need to be able to spawn reinforcements in this way too. And if I can't do that, then I really need to do some other way to make this happen. Go away. Yeah, Gisano, that's just, like, I figure that's pretty much the story of every sort of modding is like, yeah, we could get good stepping tools and stuff like that, but the reality is we're just not gonna. So it's a good thing we're at least a little bit patient because we really want the end result. Because, yeah, that's sometimes just the best you have. Alright, how badly did things mess up? Yeah, so this was what I'm concerned about. It's accessing none. Built unit, XCOM game state unit 364. It exists. It's got an ID. But then accessed none for access game state unit. So it's after the spawning. So I guess during the registration, or even just the init function is the issue. Oh dear. Come on. Come back to life. Oh wait, I have to drop this back down. I think. There we go. Alright. I have this concern that we will only be able to see the first unit. Yeah, that's the way it is. And this guy spawns, and the reason this guy spawns is because his skeleton needs to come in during the cinematic. I bet you that's the reason. Because he's the leader. And because that guy spawns, then everyone else just sort of like, what up? But anyway. Yeah, still a problem. So we're going to have to figure out why. So when it goes to register for events, is when it sort of runs into this problem. So unit state register for events is sort of my candidate. Like, that's my lead. That's going to help me find the rest of what I need for this system. Alright, XCOM game state unit.uc and bring me the spawn manager's head. Alright, register for events. It's not here, okay. But this one has a method called register for events. Right there. Right, this will probably be the worst, but you never know. Oh, it's not that bad. Alright, so register for events. Calls its own. Let me bring the log out. I tell you what, like, it's really unfortunate that the there are all of this log is like stuff that's existing in the game. It's warnings that don't come from us, and it's kind of funny. Because it means that, like, okay, so you've got all these logs to work through, and it'd be nice if it was clean. Like, there was literally just a silence or base game logging or something like that. I hate noisy consoles, because it just makes it really hard to find the problem. What am I doing? Better I use page up. Did I just skip it? There we go. It was right after the Octree stuff. There we are. There's the build out. So it registers for events. Accessed none in register for events. I wonder which one is the none. Is it the player state? We'll get my template. B is cosmetic, maybe. It does the first one, freaks out, does the rest. But then, because that one failed, it didn't create the AI group for the first, so it doesn't create the AI group for the rest. 1798. Refresh event manager registration on load. Okay. Is there anything else in here? Okay, the spawn manager. What do you do to help out with this little problem I got? Don't even want to look at that. All right, private functions. That's not what I want. Post create. So spawning built. Let me see the log. Error happens after built has unit. So spawn, access none, built unit. Yeah. So it's definitely happening inside the create unit function. Which is unfortunate because it means that I've just sort of got to figure out how to play nice with that create unit function. I can't change the function, so I need to figure out how to play nice enough with the function. that I can do what I need to do. Hope you like reading. New unit state. This guy. I reckon he's the problem. Alright, that's very generic and doesn't get used anywhere, which is good. Create unit internal, create instance, post create units, auto loot enabled, return unit state. And also a note, because these are private, well, this one isn't, but the internal one is private, so I can't touch it. This one isn't though, so if worst comes to worst, I might be able to do something to it. But for now, let's look at the inputs and see if we can just tweak one of them to get things to work. B add to start state. That's false, as it should be. And we provide a game state. Oh, of course. All right, this might, I mean, it's meant to be before the game state submits, but maybe it really does need a context set up here. Tizano, yeah, it's actually pretty good. Like, they've done so much of the modding in Unreal Script. I mean, it's really useful to us. There are some weird edges where it gets like, oh, I can't go any further. Unfortunate. But like for mods like mine, where I'm intending to basically tear apart the game, something fierce, like, you know, the geoscape will not look even remotely the same. I mean, it will have the same assets, but in terms of how it operates, it will not look the same. And it's largely because, despite my griping about their structure, their code and stuff like that, they've done so much of it in Unreal Script, and it actually is quite amenable to some serious modding. However, sometimes you have to do some unspeakable things to get it to that point, and that can result in compatibility issues with other mods. So I'm not exactly sure where this mod, when I'm finished with it, will end up in terms of compatibility. We'll see though. What was I talking about? I want to do the state better. That's what I want to do. Okay, what did I want to do? We've got this stuff here. New game state, add state object. And this is a bugger, because this stuff's alright. Maybe I'll make a context for adding to the state and just see what happens. Maybe. Couldn't hurt. It's the only thing I haven't tried at this point, so, well, it's something I have to try before I write anything off, so. What am I looking for? Reinforcement mission. QC. That's not what I want. Reinforcements. Classes. Mission logic reinforcements, that's the one. Alright. Pardon me. Alright. Look at. I'll just do one more thing with regards to. I just want to look at the event manager because maybe I can modify my parameters a little bit, and that'll do the trick. So we've got a delegate, which is an on-event delegate. Listen to deferral. EOD immediate is good. Priority I don't care about. Filter I don't care about. And persistent I do care about, and I believe I've used. Yeah, persistent is true, which is good. Where does that leave me? Okay, the context in which it's initiated. Tactical begin. Tactical game rule set. Begin tactical play. And it's a what's the event called? On tactical begin play. On tactical begin play. Hello, good sir. Get rid of you. Alright. 1463. Ah, okay. It's only here. Begin tactical play. Okay, so that's post create tactical game, and it runs this. Cached history. The history is fair game again. Okay. And that's what I'm concerned about right there, is that submit game state there. That intimates that I can't just, create my own context and go ham at it and submit it, because it's already done it. It's giving me a game state with which to do it with, I think. Possibly a good way to check that assumption. Begin tactical play. I wonder if I could register to this instead. Seeing a bunch of event registries, but nothing I can hang my hat on just yet. Okay, I mean, I can't just sit here doing nothing, so I think lacking a better alternative, I might just try and submit the game state. Yeah, might just try and submit the game state and see what happens, because I don't have a better option. Okay, so alright, let's be cheeky. Cheeky as. Let's just submit it, make a new game state, and go hog wild. We'll call this old game state so we don't have to change anything up too much. How do I change this context? String get func name. Ooh, what? I guess it works. Tactical start. Global resistance. Gimme. Alright. That's odd. What did I do? Oh, right. That's right. I changed it to a string. So I gotta remove half of these. Now we're good. Okie dokie. So we've got game state. We do some stuff to game state. Don't worry about the visualization context, we don't care about that. Or at least I'd prefer not to care about that. And then I'm going to submit the game state. And I'm just going to see whether that does what I want it to. It might not. Yeah, this is going to crash like anyone's business. I'm pretty certain of that. To be honest, it would probably be like, it'll go out with a whimper, not a bang, so. Number 42. Huh. Stuff it. Let me just take that one. Oh, that's right. Wasn't any problem with it other than that I forgot to put the identifier in. I mean, aside from the problems that you're well aware of, and will probably crash me. But anyway, I don't care. Alright, let's get the crash over with. I've never tried to attach a debugger. I should probably do it for stepping through code like this, to be honest. Been a while since I've done that stuff. Is there a step-by-step guide for that sort of thing that lets you do mod body with it? Anyway, let's just enjoy the crash. Enjoy it while it lasts. It probably won't crash. It'll probably say, hey, yeah, I know, I would imagine it's incredibly useful sometimes. Game state added to history without known creation. Here we go. So now I just get nothing. Oh, just killed it. Yep. Alright, I should probably figure out how to run a debugger, because this is clearly not going to work. Alright, so we've gotten rid of that stuff. But all right, this does the right stuff. Like the issue is in between these, I don't actually have a history that has the thing because there's an error inside this. The world pause is good. The character template is good. The team is good. All of this is good. The start state is not. let's try start state true, because I realized that that was false before anyway. Maybe if I do start state true, it'll just magically work and everything will be good. Yes to all. Alright. Run that. Oop, that's not the button I wanted to press. That's the button I wanted to press. Put you over here and you over here. Begin. Oh. Alright, well that one got a crash. Alright. Let's have a look at this. So there's a couple of threads going on here, so yeah, there's squad build loadout. Game state created but never added to history. Oh. I didn't do that. Where may changes that? Eh? Game state created but never added to history. Should come from a game state. Built unit has unit none. So built unit, the object ref has 2045, but then I get nothing from the game state because that's not the start state, I guess. So possibly everything works better. Yeah, finally got that crash. Possibly. Oh, thanks, bruh. All right. Possibly the way I work this out is by jumping into tactical start. Instead of operating on the game state I'm given, I, from XCOM history, get the start state. Just like what's it called? Because the point in time I'm operating in right now is before submission. So I can't, I can't like if this was reinforcements, this would actually be far simpler because reinforcements are like you can get into its own state and you can just throw in a bunch of units, do your thing. You can deface the state as much as you like. But being a start state, you can't do that. You have to be more deliberate, more clear with your intent. So let's just operate on that start state. So XCOM history get start state. Let's do that. Let's see what happens. So yeah, we got that. But we're gonna go local XCOM game state. Dot get start state. Alright, let's do this. Let's make that true. We've made that true. Alright, let's roll it. As far as a world map concept, I'm pretty solid on what I've put together thus far. As I said, let me load it up, and I'll talk about what I mean by like how it's sort of set up and what my intent with it is. And keeping in mind as well, like I'm tempering this because it's like my own project, and I mean, I'm under no illusions that it'll take me a freaking long time to do. So my my objectives are fairly short in scope, but I have a fairly long plan for what I plan to do. Like if you've seen the little bits and pieces I put in the wiki, that's sort of like me trying to verbalize it. But I've got some fairly overall ideas of what it needs to move towards to. But anyway, let's move forward, and then I'll load it up, and then I'll sort of explain sort of the process, like what I think is going to be sort of where we stand. Alright, whoopsie daisy. Okay, so we got this map, and like all of these, notice how they tethered the highlighting. When you mouse over one, you actually mouse over all of them. It's kind of cute. Anyway, but maybe that's just for these. Anyway, so first of all, allow yourself to zoom in really, really close. I can actually dig this zoom even closer. I'll do that with the next reload, just to show my point. So you've got this map, and you've got these strategic points of interest. I mean, some of these are outside of the region mesh, so I'll probably try and choose some cities that get me back inside the region mesh. But sort of the whole point is like each of these regions is sort of an area of operation. And in that area of operation, you've got a core city. So that's an advent control zone. And then you have like smaller cities or slums, that kind of thing. It still says control zone, but let's say that's it's a slum city or something like that. Anyway, so the idea is each of these structures would be sort of like these cities are sort of like focus points, and then you've also got these spots here, which are guard posts, and they can set up a small advent contingent at each of them. Let's say that they have 10 advents. They spawn starting with like 10, 20 advent soldiers, and that's sort of their limit of capacity. And the idea is throughout the map, you've got all these strategic points of interest, and where you come in is you at some point need to activate the resistance. And your first mission is to run. Your first mission is to wake up the resistance in a particular region, and you do that by blowing up an advent statue. So let's say this is our start region here. And this here, it's actually one of the old, it's an old geoscape entity that they had. They called it Haven. It doesn't really look like a whole lot. It just looks like a little like box, but anyway, bear with me. So let's say this is our resistance haven. And we're able to do all sorts of things with it. Like we can recruit soldiers from it, but it's small. Like they start off as a resistance cell, so it's like a camp with a bunch of people singing Kumbaya and hoping that they'll bring down the power, right? So there's like 10, 20 people there, something like that. So you can recruit one or two, but they're green as hell. But what you can do with that is now that you've got this camp, it's fairly low upkeep, but you do have to do something to upkeep it. So you can send them into the city to into say like low resistance cities to gather supplies. And then with that focus, like they can start to do that sort of thing, and you can grow the resistance. And why would you grow the resistance? So you can maybe hit some of these guard posts, so you could get more intelligence in the region to find out where these hard targets are. So these avatar facilities, these black sites, there's all these sorts of things. So you can build up the resistance, or you can build up sort of your knowledge of Advent. And there's like this is a bit dense, so these icons will be, they should just be little points really. But either way, so you start off and you've got the resistance. You can do certain things with them. You can do small things, but you can't really, fight a direct war. And let's say you use them to find out, like you use them to scout around physically, or maybe you don't want to do that. Instead, what you want to do is you want to use your XCOM operatives to actually like directly embed them in the cities and get intel. And there's a few options you can use to get intel. It's like, send your resistance out and like they do the work, or you embed your operatives in cities and they do the work, or you do a combination of both. But either way, you use that to build up your intelligence, and then what do you do with that intelligence? So you can either attack objectives, or you can try and build up your resistance. So you could use the intelligence you get to track down convoys, because there's an advent economy. They're going to have to send supplies about the place. Like in order for these facilities to exist, they need to build them with supplies. In order for those facilities to get to full capacity, they need to send vials to black sites, and then send those vials over to they need to send bodies from gene clinics to black sites, and then from black sites they need to send those vials over to the avatar facility. So you've got this economy that you can undermine, and you can use that to either like stop the doom timer from ticking down. That's like sort of the overall win condition. But you've also got these other little things you can do, like we'll eventually have ATT bases, and they'll supply reinforcements to objectives. So it's important that you're aware of those, so that you're not like you can make it easier for you to attack certain areas. And the idea is eventually you can build up, like you have resistance camps all over the world, and you build them up. You turn them into something that you can get quality, You can get quality recruits out of it. You can maybe use them to do some level of production or research. So, like you invest in the resistance, they'll invest back in you. And then while you're doing that, like as you're getting stronger, the more activity you put in a certain region, yes, you're strengthening the resistance in that area and making the people in the slums maybe believe you a bit and support you, but you're also increasing the advent response to you. So they'll start sending patrols around, so you need to start sending patrols around to try and like stop them before they like create a perimeter around your little shack. Try and keep them from getting to you. But they'll try and get intelligence, you try and get intelligence, and it's like sort of like trying to keep one step ahead of them. If they catch you, you can relocate and that kind of thing. But the idea is you're trying to eventually undermine the establishment enough that you can maybe take a guard post every now and again, maybe even take a city, eventually topple the seat of power. And the idea is if you can do that in this region, then you can maybe hold the region, because you can set your resistance up to actually reinforce these border points. And how that sort of plays out, like, overall, I'm sort of like, it's going to take some time to get to a system that actually supports that. So I'm not overly concerned with fully representing that until I get further into the piece. But that's sort of where the intent lies, is getting to a system where you can really interact and sort of have, like, you can just move things on the world map and send them places. And I think these are all going to need to be smaller to do that, to make it a lot tighter. Like original XCOM, everything was just little dots, so you could really have a lot of fidelity, even though they didn't really make too much use of it. And we want to use that fidelity. Like we'll just ignore the land maybe for now and stuff like that. But overall, that's sort of like, I see it as all these little things moving around and just trying to figure out the right interface for you to interact with these sorts of things. Like, at the moment, I'm just happy to just set up for some basic cause and effect, and I'll start sending some convoys around, and then we'll just see what sort of things that sort of opportunities that presents. It could be nice to sort of abstract it down to simple tiles and stuff like that, but to a degree that might actually be more work than just setting up a system where everything's got real space that they take up and move along. And I think, yeah, maybe you do some fortification on these facilities. I think definitely with the resistance camps, you would eventually build structures within them, and I think it'd be a really cool opportunity to have like, Advent would create new tactical points of interest, such as facilities and that kind of thing. Resistance would mainly be its havens, but maybe they can reinforce one of these guard posts and turn them into something more. I would sort of like these sort of, like, the roads. No one's building any roads. Like, I want to, like no one's got the infrastructure for that. But maybe they have, like they would take these and turn them into something new. And like the actual structure that you've got this resistance camp, and it starts off just as this little shanty town, but maybe then you would build a hospital there, and you also build a what's the word? Let's say you build a hospital there, and you also build a little workshop and maybe a training facility. So you've got all these little things that are building up there, and you could potentially represent them on a plot, because you can just, like, chuck those structures onto a mission. And if we were, like, have control like the tactical quick launch does, suddenly you're able to just sort of build out those things and have them actually represented. So again, I want this to be about the intersection between strategy and tactical. So tactical represents strategy, strategy represents tactical, like the tactical footing and that kind of thing. Anyway, that was a whole lot of words. As I said, like, as far as a design document, it's hard to reach one. Like, I tried this thing where, like, try these abstractions and that kind of thing, but I got back to this, like thinking about what is guerrilla warfare and that kind of thing. And I think guerrilla warfare is all about being able to take advantage of mobility. And mobility doesn't really reflect itself particularly well if you've got, just a couple of regions or just a couple of tiles and they're clearly visible, like whether there's an absence or not. And this is why, there's all these things moving past one another inside the region, but they don't, like, the battlefield picture isn't complete for everyone. Access none game state. Oh. What have I done? Well, at least we got a crash. I can maybe talk about that later. But anyway, let's find out where it died. Game state created but never added to history. I'm not creating no game state. What the hell? You go false. You're set to start state. You go false. Doesn't actually change its behavior that much, so I'm not sure why it's doing this. And the funny thing is, you talk about, like, you know, these grand plans, you know, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this. And it's just like, who cares? Because you can't even get the thing running. At least that's sort of what I partially think sometimes when I talk about all this stuff. So it's like, you know, it's good to think and have an objective. But I think that's got to be tempered with just, all right, let's just take it one step at a time and get to that position. Because, I mean, the truth is like, it's going to take a while, no matter which way we slice it. Dear God, it's almost 9 o'clock. I have achieved nothing. Yes, so the supply economy, I sort of glossed over that. So each city will have supply centers. I mean, we could call them manufacturing plants or something like that, but let's just call them supply centers for now. And those supplies get distributed all the way around. Hang on a second. So those resources get distributed in all sorts of ways. Everything's got upkeep, so a lot of those supplies are going to go towards feeding a populace. Like if your actions starve a populace, it's going to mean that potentially they're not going to be particularly happy with you. So, like let's say, like, you know, a population has an upkeep. All these facilities have upkeep. Production inputs occur. So there's advent forges about the place, and the only way the advent forges work is if someone is putting money into them. And technically, like I've got the concept of supply centers here. So you got 3 supply centers there, and 0 gene clinics, and that's actually live data. Like if I click on the main city, you can see supply centers 4 and gene clinics 2. So we can sabotage a gene clinic, and that counter will actually go down. So the whole point of having those those structures is to, like you create those supplies. The gene clinics are, like, if you destroy them, you can start to starve the black sites and in turn starve the avatar facilities. All of those things need, like, the supplies are created within those cities, and then the thing is those supplies have got to be transferred physically to places. So what you're going to result in is this entire economy where these trucks are running back and forth to take things places. And sort of we had that discussion with VLAD V, it might be the case there eventually those structures are eventually, like, they consider the roads too dangerous in certain regions and decide to bypass them via the air. Well, that's cool. That'd be interesting. Really? Really, son? Really? Alright, something's going wrong here. Because I shouldn't have any of that sort of behavior. I'm not submitting nothing. Maybe the get start state is a pale too far for him. Anyway, so yeah, those supplies, they have to travel, so you can skim off the edge of them, and you probably won't put a dent in the economy at that point, but maybe you can eventually isolate, okay, so the forge is here, so if we set up a bunch of blockades here, we can get a lot of attention and potentially dry up the amount of troops that are here, which will reduce the amount of troops that are in other places. If they're drawing troops away from there, then maybe we can open up for XCOM to do its thing, because the XCOM is like the queen, right? You've got, all these pawns running around, like your resistance camps and stuff like that, and they can't really leave their region. But the XCOM forces can pick up and drop off in another region in the matter of days, or like based on the timer, like 9 hours or something like that. So if it's that easy for them to just pick up and go somewhere else, then you're sweet, So that's sort of like okay. So let's use that mobility to get something done. But yeah, that's sort of like, I'm not sure all of the things that will come out of the system, but by the same token, I want to have a systems approach rather than a curated approach, which is what XCOM 2 inherently is by the way they've designed it. I just want to avoid that curated approach to the game, so that maybe you get these really these interesting emergent stories coming from how it comes together. Like you end up with this pitched battle in East America, and then you pick up and you feel like you've almost lost, but then you start knocking them over here because they've actually drawn so many troops away to the fight in East America or something like that. It's like, I think there could be some really interesting emergent stuff come out of it, while also appeasing sort of from a just a fort level. Like it's an interesting setting, and I don't think there's really going to be a lot like it to play out there. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. Anyway, I gotta fix this thing. All right, so now it's crashing out all the time. So let's just change this back to game state. Change back to what we had. See if we can just at least get back to the state that we had, because it's getting kind of narky. Go away. Alright, so tactical start doesn't reload the game state. Oh, okay, hang on. Let's get rid of you. You don't need to be there anymore. And that'll do. Alright. If this doesn't work, I might take a break and sort of figure it out off. It's kind of disappointing that I've got, it's pretty close. I'm almost at the point where I can just sort of set up arbitrary squads and spawn them out, but I want to do it without the override, if I can. How do we get the propaganda approach in there? I have Advent take governmental actions as well, such as putting regions under lockdown. Yeah, so I think what that's going to look like is each region has got levels of sort of alert and activity and stuff like that. I think you have this concept of maybe trust, there's going to be some sort of numbers under there, trust in Advent versus trust in XCOM. Maybe trust is very low for both of them, maybe they're just tired of the war and they want it to be over. But essentially it'd all boil down to certain actions result in certain things happening. And I think it'd be interesting for the retaliation happens to not happen at Resistance Havens, but at those cities. Happen at those, Resistance Havens, when they get discovered, that's a true offensive action. You can either choose to withdraw, like you can either choose to retreat or hold your ground or whatever. But then, what does Advent do when it realizes Slum City Soul or something like that is harboring XCOM? Like, what are their responses to that? And I think, Advent taking governmental actions is, I think, really important. It's like, all right, so do they go in and basically go martial law and start rounding people up? And like, is that the way you like you? I guess you undermine them enough that you result in these things happening, and then like potentially that's when all the interactions start happening. In terms of like how much do they trust you? Do they have a reason to trust you? Maybe they don't, because you've been, spending too much time blowing up structures or something like that. Like, I don't know how much of that is actually tracked when you start doing it. So you might not be able to track destruction and that kind of thing. But I think that but that's in the realm where that sort of stuff is potentially useful. All right. I think we're going to call bankruptcy on this one and just decide that we've got to pull back and sit this logic in the start state. Which is unfortunate. It's not what I wanted to do, but it's sort of going to have to happen. Because I don't want to spend ages trying to figure this out if I could just spawn it. And we'll cross the bridge of reinforcements when they get there. Yeah. And maybe I have to do other stuff when I get to that. But that's totally cool. I'm cool with that. Alright, so let's save this back out again. So we keep this. Technically, we can keep all the behavior of the existing thing. Where am I? There you are, good sir. Tactical game. I think the interesting, like in terms of the ways I'm thinking about this design of the game as a whole, of Guerrilla War, like a lot of this design space, I've explored it, and I think it's what's it called? Actually, sorry. On a related note, I didn't see too much regarding the Highlander. I'm hoping that said Highlander will actually be fairly forgiving in terms of it doesn't actually impose the Long War way on everything, or at least it doesn't tell us, hey, you've got to do everything. Like you have to accept some of their Long War balance decisions in order to make use of it. That would be unfortunate. But I haven't actually, I skimmed over it, but I didn't. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'm sort of happy to see how that one plays out. Maybe I'll get some useful tools out of it. Maybe I won't. I think in the end of the day, I'm still firmly in the understanding that what I'm doing is probably going to be possibly too breaking to sit in the kind of world that they're making. But we'll see. And yes, Tizanal, you're right. Like, I've got a few approaches with reinforcements. As I said, like I can do horrible things to the game state once I get to that point. I'm sort of happy to go with an override of tactical game rule set. And I have walked back my decision to use tactical game rule set overrides in the past and managed to do it successfully. So I'm happy to sort of put that in the too hard basket for now. And like this is like I guess a thing to think about. Yeah, I mean there might be a community Highlander too as well. We'll see. I mean I'm just kind of like it'd be great if like we had a script extender that everyone could get behind. But I know that I'm not the guy to make it because I don't have the time, you know? And I care a lot about the idea that I'm working on and the things that I'm doing. so it's not like it wouldn't be welcome to me, but I just don't think I have my head in the right place to build that. Even if I roughly understand what I think it would be about, yeah, like it's not enough to know that. Like, you've also got to understand, all right, so how are we going to pull all this together? How are we going to turn this into something that we can all use? Let me kill mod buddy and then reload it. And I think it's like it's so weird because of the nature of inheritance. Like, it's hard to make a good Highlander that you can just package and allow people to use. Like, it all seems really complicated to provide code that other people can use right now. And like, I'm hoping that's not just because I'm stupid. Like, I think it's just like, it's overcomplicated for us to just pull in some stuff that we can use. And that's sort of like, all right, so that's interesting. Like, yeah, there's things that are useful there, but in the end of the day, it's like, all right, let's just see where that sort of ends up. But it's not out of the question that I am, in fact, stupid. I always feel so far behind the 8 ball because I started programming way later than anyone, and I'm definitely not the fastest cab off the rank. All right. Okay. All right, let's just see if that works. Gets us back to our stable state. And the interesting thing is potentially my issue is actually with the fact that Spawn All Aliens runs, which locks things down for me, maybe. Like, that might not be true, but we'll see. It's getting a bit dark in here. I'm just gonna throw on a light. Okie dokie. Build error. What you doing to me, son? Alright, yes. We want start state instead. Yes to all. Yeah, so have I, Robo Jumper. There's lots of people talking. There's NDAs going out for all sorts of stuff. Hopefully it's good. We'll see. Like, yeah, I haven't heard enough yet to know either or. But we will see what the decisions they've made. Yeah. No, like 6 overrides is like, yeah, wicked, good work. Like, because I mean, like the simple fact is some of us are going to have to do dramatic stuff. Like, I'm, like Long War as a mod will probably still fit fair. Like, it won't be as drastic as Long War 1. I'm going under the assumption that it's not going to be nearly as drastic as Long War 1. Because I doubt that they would have gotten paid to mod XCOM to completely rip it to bits. So, yeah, hopefully it's a good tool. Hopefully. Anyway, what we doing? Oh, we don't want to raid a guard post. We want to go there. How nice of them to put the Avatar facility on the road. Right in the city. But yeah, I think one good thing that could come out of the Highlander potentially is if like a community Highlander could then come out of it that could then sort of address, like have some people taking sort of leadership on it. I don't know. It depends on where everyone's intent is. I think as it stands, intent was pretty muddy for the last year in terms of, what are the Long War guys doing? Oh, what should we do? Oh, we probably shouldn't do anything because these guys still haven't done their thing. Like, maybe it'll be easier for someone to take control of sort of like something similar to the Skyrim script extender because it's like, oh yeah, we know everything that's going to happen now. We're all good. All right, so we're backing up and running. We just put this back in the start state. So I'm just going to have to live with that tactical game rule set override for now, and we will do something different at a later date. All right, so we've got those spawns. This stuff has actually been working swimmingly. I'm pretty happy with this code for the most part. This we will start to pull from actual information. Tactical start will go. We don't need that anymore. Let me just delete that. So tactical start can go. May have been removed, renamed, or deleted. Dang right. Go away. Okie dokie. And X2 global downloadable. Okay. Now what I wanted to do before I finished off today is have it actually spawn from somewhere. So let's do that. I don't wanna live life with regrets. Alright, you're gone. You're here. Okay. So, where you get the garrison from, hey? You got this mission site. No, you got strategy asset. .uc. Okay. So every strategy asset has squads in it. So what we're going to do is we're going to kick the can down the road and go to Avatar Assets. So we're creating these. What we'll do just for now is we're going to create these assets, and we're gonna load them up with, people, with squads. So let's say that we're building out squads. So we've got tactical game rule set, and we've got squads in here. So let's take the same blank squad, blank unit count approach. Yeah, so I'm assuming RoboJumper, most of it is leveraging that Long War tuple thing. So it reminds me of sort of WordPress's design with millions of hooks everywhere, function hooks that allow you to sort of just make things happen as little conduits, which is not so great if you want to pull behavior away, but is great if you want to add behavior. Pulling behavior away probably it involves some sort of, you have to walk it back or delete it from the game state or something like that. Alright, anyway. What am I doing? Doing something. Alright. Squads. 10 hooked. Alright, so squads live in a struct called squads. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a squad. We're going to make it 3 troopers, 2 lancers, 1 captain. And I will start with the captain. The reason I start with the captain is so that I can, and what I should really do is go static function, add squad to asset. So 38G, 70G. Put this stuff in there. So I can do that. And then go squad, asset dot squads dot add item squad. All right, and then I'll nix all that. Oops. All right, the first thing is going to be the first generic unit. It gets to be the leader of the squad, leader of the pack. All right, I don't even need that. I can just go for squad. All right, throw you up the top, so you get to be first. Cool. So 3 troopers, 1 captain, 2 stun lancers. All right. So for every asset dot squad, add squad to asset, and then we're going to give it asset, which is just, it's not type casted until later, which is good. I'm going to add 2 squads to each of them. Let's make it 3. Nice and dense. I mean, like this mod is definitely about like higher numbers. So when it comes down to like, actually doing this, we would have higher numbers all around the board. Okie dokie. Go away. Actually, I'll comment it just so I can keep track of some of the information that's on there. All right. So we need a squad from battle data. Where do we? So we get the mission site. This is good. So the mission site. What we can do instead? Yeah, mission ID. Yeah. So what we can do is instead of getting that mission site, we can get our own mission site. Global resistance mission site. And so glad they allowed you to overwrite game states. All right. Resistance, game state, mission site. All right, and the one key addition to that is the incorporation of a related strategy site ref. So that is the defenders. And this is the thing, like I might change that to defenders or something like that, because eventually 2 strategy assets will collide. So the attackers will come from one side, or the XCOM, the asset will be one side, and the the allied asset will be the other side. Oh, sorry, allies. Yeah, Advent versus alien. Yeah, resistance versus aliens. Anyway, so we get the strategy site ref. So this is where we look for the site ref and we check if they've got squads. And let's put this function on strategy assets. Because this, like, so I had this concept of like, Vanguard versus getting the, you get a Vanguard, or you get, another thing, that kind of thing. Or you get, like, reinforcements. So function get Vanguard, get initial squads. So what I'm going to do to start off with is, like always, just get all of the squads. So strategy asset squad. We're just going to return squads. But the idea is eventually this can become something far greater. Like it can go, all right, so I'm a city. So I will only ever allocate 2 or 3 yeah, play admin. Like I will eventually get 2, 3, 4 squads out of all 50 of them that are in a city, right? And they will be the garrison for a particular mission. But we'll just do this for now and then go from here. Rightio. So squads. So theoretically, I can get a it's the Vanguard squads. All right. Array strategy asset squad. Hopefully this works. I really have no idea whether it will actually work. Okie dokie. So we've got that. We've got a game state of a strategy asset. Yes. Strategy asset. Now this is unfortunate because I will actually have to load the correct class in order for this to work right in the future. Like I'll need to get the class loader from the template and all that malarkey. But I'm cool with that. Like let's just not stress about it right now. So what is my intent here? I am going to load Vanguard squads. Actually no, I am going to if mission site state dot mission site. So if it has a related strategy site ref, the object ID does not equal 0, then we're going to get our Vanguard squads by going global resistance strategy asset equals global resistance game state strategy asset cached history get from game state for hopefully that'll do. Seems about right. Mission site state site related strategy site link ref object ID. Okay. Man, these names are so long. Alright. So Vanguard squads equals strategy assets. Get initial squads. Alright. And now we should just be able to iterate over that and then probably just drop a bunch of squads in. Let's get an offset. So offset starts off at 0 and then we just kick up the offset for each of these squads. Alright, so what do we got for each Vanguard squads? Strategy asset squad. Oh, I'm an idiot. Sorry about that, guys. There you go. I'm doing stuff. Believe me. Thanks, chat. Alright. Squad drop location. Alright, drop location dot x equals drop location dot x plus offset. So that one offset's none, and then offset equals offset plus 96 times 10. There we go. Alright, let's just do that. Might fall off the map if we've got more than 3 squads, but at the moment we've only got 3 squads, so she all good. Alright, okay. I think that's everything I needed to do to sort of make this work. Yeah, okay. So let's do that and try that out. I'm probably going to call it once I do this, because I don't know. It's getting late. But let's see how that plays out. It probably won't build. I probably made a mistake somewhere. I should really get a real-time linter for this thing. If you know any good Unreal script linters, please recommend me one that I can run for Vim. Otherwise, I might just try and make my own somewhere. Alright, Vanguard squads. Yep. Mr. Comma, Mr. Semicolon, rather. Yes to all. Close that. Alright, gimme. Free, okay, no good. Machine expression 54. It's 11:30 over there. It's 9 a.m. here. 9 p.m. rather. That and I'm a dad. I'm tired. All right. Vanguard strategy. Oh, strategy assets. Yeah, I don't know if you appreciate this sort of thing. Like, I like it because it keeps me accountable. But yeah, I'll keep streaming because it doesn't really bother me if no one shows up. But it is nice to show other people what I'm doing, and it seems like the least effort way to do it while I'm also making progress. So. And I figure that's like half the people who put streams on sort of work like that. They're just like, oh yeah, I'll watch it while I'm doing other stuff. Which I'm totally fine for. Oh, did he? Oh, that's nice. I shall have to thank Biggs next time I talk to him. Oh yes, the secret XCOM modders Discord. It's not that secret as far as I'm aware. I can invite you, mate. It's not a big deal. I don't know, like, I wouldn't mind, like, not everyone's sort of happy to talk through their work as they do it. Like, I've done a bunch of pair programming with other, like, trying to get other people through web development and stuff like that. And to be honest, like, talking as I work doesn't particularly take me out of it. Like, there's some stuff that's complicated enough that I get stuck and I just need quiet and focus and stuff like that. But to be honest, most of the time, this is just like one big old rubber ducking session. If you don't know what I mean by rubber ducking, essentially it's where you sit a rubber ducky in front of you and talk to it, and it tells you all the answers to life and how it needs to be. Yeah, Tizano, I'll get on that when I finish off the stream. I'll whisper it to you. I think, I mean, like, development is slow, and I don't think you realize how slow it is until you talk people through it. I think to a degree it's better just to say, all right, I need to have a thought pattern that works for people. Hello, everybody. Okay, there's one pod. There's another pod. Oh, there's another one. All right. Well, there we go. So now we had that stuff and it came from this place. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to really quickly try and finish this mission. So I'm going to plant the bomb and then run away really quickly. Yeah, first time. Oh no, I was fairly certain of that aspect of the code. Like when I'm in a realm that like I have full control over, I'm like, sweet, yeah, first time. But obviously it doesn't happen every time. But either way, that's all the things, all of that loaded up. There was 18 units, which is good, I believe. Each of those was 6, wasn't it? 3, 2, 1. Yep, 3, 2, 1. So 18 units. All of them made it, which is good. To a degree, also the stream helps me keep focused on development, because I hear you like. Oh no! Come on. Was that my mod or was that file name not found? Ooh. Dumping name table. We might be all good. All right. I don't know, you got me, Lad V. I don't know. Alright, I'm going to have to run this again and just verify that that was a fluke and not like something I've done. Because it just crashed. Just crashed. And I might run the black site mission while I'm at it. Alright, the black site mission won't work at all. I can't do that. Yeah, is it not to do with my sort of stuff? I guess we'll find out, won't we? Because I've never had a crash on end of mission. Alright, let's see if this runs. That co-op stuff would be really interesting, man. Like, I should probably dig out the mod at some point and have a look at your code. Like, I'm just really interested in how that stuff goes together, because obviously it's got the multiplayer aspect to it as well. I feel like the state model as a whole is actually a really cool way of dealing with all of this stuff, but it's just that the language is horrible for running it. Like, really, there are just way better places to be doing this sort of work with the system. Well, at least they're not shooting. That'd be a shame. Okay, blow them up. Hang on, where am I? There we go. All right. Alright, please don't crash this time. I really don't want to do more bug fixing. Alright. We're all good. Whew. Okay. So the main thing about that, we did that mission. Commander said we're great. That's all good. And now, holla, peanut butter sandwiches. The Avatar project is down, and it's gone down one, and the facility is gone. So we can have effects on the world. Excellent. Alrighty, I think that's going to do for the night. Thanks for dropping by and saying good day. And I think I'll commit this. It is progress. Hey, it's my night. It's my stream too, okay? Alright, spawn squads on strategy asset missions. Git push. I love working from the terminal. Terminal's rad. Off you go. I'm really fastidious about committing to, because I don't like to lose anything, and like I get like the feels like whenever it's like, even if I've got uncommitted work from a day ago, I'm like, why isn't this work committed yet and somewhere that's safe off my computer? All right, cool.